Do you find yourself wondering why shadows in maps are so important? I mean, let's be honest. They're quite a lot of work to add to a map, and how are they even going to help you and the players at your table? Your map functions just as well without it, right? Well, there's more to shadows than you might think, and if that's the case, please stick around for this video because we're going to talk about exactly that. Hello and welcome, my name is Fake Fairy Tale, and today I would like to do a short deep dive into why you should apply shadows to your map and why they are important, using this example in the background and a few other images that I would like to dive into in just a second. Now, let's be honest, it's quite a labor-intensive job to apply shadows to your entire map, and especially if you're not going to sell it, don't want to put it on the Patreon, you might think, why would I even bother? But as a matter of fact, it is actually a very strong tool to use, especially on a 2D top-down map. Because we're working from a top-down perspective, it's very hard to always get the right image across or the right depiction of something that you've created in your head, and shadows are going to help you to do that. And it's not only about giving a realistic feel to your map, but it also has a lot of practical use. And with regards to the realism for your map, I can give you loads of examples. For example, I did a post a while back to show the importance of shadows in a map. It's a written post on Reddit, I'll link it in the description of this video. And I would like to show you two takes from that post. And the first thing is this notice board over here. On the left hand side you see one that's without shadows, on the right hand side you see one that's with shadows. And we use the shadows to indicate the source of light, which in this case is the sun. And along with that we have darkened out the front side of the notice board because it blocks out the sunlight from the back, meaning it will be darker on the front side. And this kind of shadow really helps to set an atmosphere for your map. It also enhances the realism, which is going to bring your map to a next level. Now, the second take I would like to show you from that post are these two rooms over here. Again, on the left hand side we have the same room without shadows, and on the right hand side the one with shadows. And at first glance you already see that the room without the shadows looks quite bland. And it's mainly because of a lack of atmosphere, and it's kind of hard to see where the light sources come from, but also to find the proper depth for objects that are taller or smaller or cast a shadow on one another to help your eyes and your brain process the image into something that makes sense and to make it very easy to see at first glance how everything is arranged. It also really helps to sell your map. Maybe you want it to be very dark and creepy. For example, in a dungeon, you take deep and dark shadows. But you can also make a map very bright and light to make sure that it comes across like a safe haven of sorts, or the Feywild, for example. But that's not the only use for shadows in your map. And for that, I would like to come back to Dungeondraft in a second here. Alright, here we are. And this example was based on something that I found in the Crosshead Studios Discord. A fellow Discorder that goes by the name of Fordul made an excellent example to somebody on why shading can be important to help you set a scene. And what he did is he set up a scenario. Your group encounters 4 magical pillars. They're somewhere on a square, as you can see right here. And what pillar do you think they'll ask the most questions about? And let's be honest here, the only thing that we've done so far is apply the shadows. Outside of that, these are just blank objects that all have the same shape if you look at it from a topside perspective. However, if you look at the shadows, you can see that there actually is a lot of variation between them. You have a broken one on the right side that seems to be suspended in the air. You have one that's solid in one piece, but also suspended in the air. The one on the left-hand side appears to be standing on a very small footing and seems to expand as it grows up, become bigger, and you have a regular pillar on the bottom side. And it tells a lot about the setting in just a glance of an eye. You don't have to explain the 4 pillars, describe what they look like or how they hover or whatever. You can just show this image and your party will immediately know what's going on. And that's why shadows are such a powerful tool in your maps. And it's something that doesn't have to take a lot of time. For example, the shape that we have on the top over here, it's just 6 points and it's very easy to make. I've created this whole setting in just a few minutes. We can just delete one, for example, and quickly show you how that's done. We'll take the pattern tool, we'll set it to a custom shape. With this one, I started out at the pillar itself. There we go. We'll grab it and we'll move it out a little bit. And there you go. Now you have a pillar that's suspended in the air. And if that's too hard or if it takes too much time for you, you don't even have to do this diagonally. If you want to make it easy for yourself, you can just always create a light source that comes from the top. Right now it comes like you can see over here from the left hand side, but you can always create one that comes from the top. We'll delete this one and we'll just create a rectangle. And this time we don't even need the custom shape. We can just grab the square. We'll drag a rectangle out. Ta-da, there you have your pillar. And if you want to do that, for example, with a more interesting shape, you can do it like so. We'll grab the pattern tool once again. We'll create a custom shape. We'll just start out from here. We'll draw it out to below, to the right. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Move it back in. And as you can see, I messed up a little bit, but we can just adjust it as we please. So that's quite easy to fix. And you can also indicate height of objects. So for example, if we want this bottom pillar to be much higher than the other ones, we can just draw out and make it significantly longer. And there you go. Now this pillar is longer than the rest. So as you can see, it's quite easy to apply, and I highly recommend to just take a little bit of your time and add some shadows to your map. And try and think of some fun ways to play around with this. It can really liven up your map, and it will make it much easier for your players to read. If the topic of shadows interests you, or if you struggle with it, I have a playlist to multiple videos on shadowing on the top right corner right here. If you want to stay up to date of all my content, please hit the like, favorite and subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the sub notification bell to get a notification when a new video goes live. And if you enjoyed this kind of content and would like to support the channel, I also have a Patreon page that includes a few bonuses for Patreons, like a few custom tokens made by a friend of mine, as well as some additional versions to the maps I've made in the past, and new maps that will be created in the future as part of videos or separate projects will be posted on there as well. Now, I would like to thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video.